I love the British mumming plays. These are folk plays in which there's usually a sword fight and one or the other contestant in the sword fight is slain. And then a quack doctor brings him back to life through poetry and a potion. I urge you to go read the mumming plays. They're fantastic. They're fascinating. Well, some years ago, when I was living up in Missouri, I had been reading the mumming plays. I was steeped at that moment in the aesthetics and spiritual dynamics of the mumming plays. And I went over the weekend during the Christmas season, which is a time when mumming plays are performed in Britain. I went to a town in French colonial Missouri, a wonderful little town called St. Genevieve. I loved this town, and I was at this pizza place. And I found myself standing around inside the restaurant beside this elderly man, and I was in line waiting to order, and suddenly something came to me. It was like a voice in my head was like, this town, there's some connection between this town and the mumming plays. Because I had been wondering where all in the United States anything akin to mummery might have survived. Not maybe not even to the present day, but some maybe into the 19th century or the early 20th century. I was just curious about that. And something came to me and said, ask this man if there's anything in this town that's like the mumming plays, because there's something about the town that just resonated with the aesthetic of the mumming plays. So I asked him, and I said, "Sir, I have such an out of the blue question for you. It's the weirdest question, but I feel I have to ask it." So I described the mumming plays for him and asked him, "Have you ever seen anything like that around here?" And he said, "Well, you know, not exactly, but we do have something called La Guioni that sounds a little bit like it." And it is like it, although it's a singing and dancing performance. But so it's not a play exactly, but it does have some things in common with the mumming plays. And that was a very important moment because I wound up writing about La Guioni. It's a major theme in my work, Firebones. And it's just been a wonderful thing to know about. I've taught my students at university about it. I've had scholars of the Guioni speak to my classes and so forth. It's become a part of my life, and I've gone to witnessing and participate in the Guioni on a number of occasions. It's this New Year's Eve ritual in French colonial Missouri in which people dress up in in costumes that represent important personages in the history of French colonial Missouri, and they sing this beggar song in French, and they go from home to pub to, I don't know, maybe the VFW. They just go around in different important places, community spaces, and private homes in the area, and they sing their song, and people give them drinks, alcoholic drinks. It's a beautiful tradition in St. Genevieve, Missouri, and Prairie du Rocher, Illinois. Nobody would think, well, actually, some people in those areas don't even know about it, but there are there are quite a number of people who would never dream of having New Year's Eve without Guioni. So it's this cool thing that just has survived, as far as I know, only in two cities in the entire United States. Well, what was that? I mean, something spoke to me that night and said, talk to this man about this. That was some strange intuition just coming from seemingly from nowhere. But I was steeped in the aesthetics of the Guioni, of mumming plays rather. I'd never heard of La Guioni actually. But something just spoke to me and said, ask him, ask this man. He knows something. And there's something in this town you need to know about. I'm telling this story to encourage you to listen to these strange voices that you have, even when they seem to be suggesting something deeply improbable. Sometimes there's something to it. When you have that feeling, do a little exploration. And that's for anybody who wants to be a folklorist and do some field work, gather some folklore. But I think it's just good advice for life in general.